Hello, welcome back to the channel. It is Dan, Nocturne Knives, coming at you today with a quick review video for this knife, the We Evoke. First of all, a big thank you to We for sending this through the Apex Pass Around group, letting us all get to check it out. We definitely appreciate that, so thank you. Next little disclaimer, this knife is supplied by the manufacturer. Of course, I do not get to keep it though, and I am receiving nothing for making this video. It is going on to the next reviewer after I'm done with it. Anyway, this knife is the We Evoke, designed by Ray Laconico. There's his name right there, his typical simple signature. I like that. You can definitely tell it's a Ray Laconico design. It has those classic Laconico lines, very simple, rounded edges, a little kind of long clip point, very classic Laconico design. And it's made in typical We fashion with, let's see if I can show this off right. No, it's, there we go. 20 CV right there. I like the tiny little marking there. Got tie frame lock, tie clip, and tie screws. All of that is anodized blue, and then the blade is this nice smooth bead blast finish. We got thumb studs and a front flipper for the deployment, and the grind is flat, I believe. It's labeled as a hollow in some places, but I really think it's flat. It doesn't feel hollow at all. So with all that out of the way, let's get into the review. We'll talk about measurements first. So it's coming in right on about 8 inches. Blade length is right on 3.5 inches, and cutting edge is about just a little over a quarter, maybe 3 5/8, something like that. Get my calipers out here. All right, take a look at that handle width. We're looking at 0.39, really thin handle. That's pretty nice. Blade stock thickness is 12 thousandths, so about 1/8 of an inch. And then the behind the edge measurement is coming in at about 16 thousandths behind the edge. And I'm going to guess, I haven't measured this, but I'm going to guess that edge angle is probably 21 and maybe 22 degrees per side, if I had to guess. It doesn't seem insane because you can see some definite bevel there. It's not like ultra tiny like they sometimes are, but it's a fairly high angle, definitely over 20 if I had to guess. So bear in mind, if you sharpen this and bring that angle down to under 20, you will see the edge, behind the edge thickness increase a little, maybe up to like 18 thousandths behind the edge. Now with all those measurements out of the way, let's get into the review, talk about my likes, neutrals, and dislikes. So starting off with the likes, I really like the way this knife looks. I think it's just a good classic looking knife, classic Laconico design. He knows how to design a knife and he's good at it. There's a reason that he has done as well as he has done, has a lot of companies wanting to work with him, have him design knives. It's a well done knife. It just looks really good. I like the clip point. I like the simple lines on the handle. The colors are all good. Next like is the materials. You got titanium on the handle, CPM 20 CV on the blade. When done well, is a good blade steel. We does an okay job. I haven't had that much experience personally with We's 20 CV, but I expect it's pretty par for the course with the Chinese OEMs. I know Best Tech is doing a little extra nice of a job lately. Rayot seems like they're doing okay. I think We is kind of in that okay ballpark. So it's going to be a pretty decent steel. All told, probably not going to be anything super special like a Spyderco M390 or something like that. But it shouldn't be too bad. My next like on this is the action on the thumb studs. I like it. It's got a pretty well-tuned detent for these thumb studs, and it's really smooth on the close. You can see just some light shakes, and it drifts close, falls really easily, and it's really smooth. It has that kind of glassy smoothness. It's quite nice and satisfying. And on the thumb studs, incredibly easy to flick it out there. You really give it a push, and it will fly the rest of the way out. The middle finger flick you can do, and it's pretty easy. You have to give it just a little bit of oomph, but is pretty easy to get, and I like how the thumb studs are positioned. My next like is the multiple deployment methods. That's always something fun to have. Just an extra, you have that front flipper to deploy it, just a little bit more fun, a little bit more interesting than a single opening method. Then my next like is the ergonomics. Thing has solid ergonomics, and a lot of it comes down to Ray's design work on this knife. You can see all these corners are really well smoothed, really well chamfered. They're not even just chamfered, they're fully rounded over. You can see that there. Really, really nice ergonomics. There are no sharp edges on this anywhere, and it's quite well done, so you can hold it however you want. This corner back here is so rounded, it could be poking into your hand anywhere, and you really don't feel it. Got this one finger groove. It's nice. Hammer grip, really good. Saber grip is great. Draw cut grip, pinch grip, it really doesn't matter. It's all really good on this knife because everything is rounded. That is kind of the touch of a designer who knows what they're doing, is all those critical corners are rounded, especially this corner back here, which from a different designer, you might see this sharp and uncomfortable in the hand. My next like is the lock bar access. It is simple and done well. You have a slight chamfer on the show side, slight chamfer on the lock side, and you have just enough of that lock bar exposed to very easily be able to press it over. The lock bar is weighted really well, so it's very easy. It's exposed perfectly, and you press that, the blade will fall. This unsharpened portion, the ricasso, will hit your thumb. You don't have the edge coming down hitting your thumb. You would have to purposely push the lock bar over pretty low to do that. You push it over in normal position, you will have the non-sharpened part of the blade hitting your thumb. Rotate and either kind of drop it closed or just move it closed with your finger. Very well done there. I really like the lock bar disengagement on this, something a lot of knives miss. Next is the build quality. Knife seems very well made. Centering is nice. Lockup is really nice. Absolutely no play. As I said, all these edges are beautifully rounded. I like the stonewash on this. I guess that's my next like, is the stonewash and the vibrant blue ano on this are really, really good. I like it. Feels smooth. It looks nice. I like the slightly different finish on the hardware, kind of a shiny machine finish that gives you just a different quality of blue. Matches the thumb stud perfectly. I think it looks really nice altogether. And then I think the little bronze accent on the show side pivot is really nice. It's a simple touch, but it's good. Next like is this lanyard post. What a great way to do a lanyard post. I love that it's out of the way. You don't have a lanyard hole drilled in here disrupting your aesthetics, but you can still easily and effectively attach a lanyard. And if you don't want a lanyard, it will not impact you in the slightest. Very well done. I like that a lot. And then my next like is going to be this blade for the most part. I really like the shape. I like the finish. It's a nice, smooth feeling bead blast. Usually I don't like a bead blast, but on this knife, for some reason it works. And then really my favorite part is the sharpening choil. It is done exquisitely well. You can see all that room you have up to the plunge grind to sharpen. The plunge grind ends about right here. You have all that edge to sharpen away up into this choil, and it will not impact anything. Very well done. Perfectly done sharpening choil, in my opinion. This is how you do it. Ray knows how to nail a sharpening choil. And those are all my likes. Now on to some neutrals. And on this knife, I think I only have one neutral, and it's the blade grind. I wish that it was actually a hollow grind like it's advertised. If it is a hollow, it's incredibly minor. But I wish it was a nice, deep hollow grind. Maybe take this to like 10, 11 thousandths behind the edge. I think that would improve the knife a lot. I think this would be awesome with a good hollow grind. Now on the flip side of that, if you want a little more toughness out of your knife, for whatever reason, this is going to be good for you, and it really still is pretty slicey. It has a thin blade stock. It has a moderately thin grind, under 20 thousandths. It's a nice shape. It's going to be a really good blade no matter what. I would have just liked to see a hollow a little bit more. All right, now on to dislikes. And I really only have one dislike, and it's that the detent doesn't work super well for the front flipper. It's just a little bit sluggish for the front flipper. It doesn't have any snap or pop. And on front flipper detent, you want to have a little bit of snap to kind of help you once you break that detent, help it snap open. This opening method with your thumb pushing like this is pretty good with this detent, but the reach over is it's not satisfying at all. And it's pretty easy to fail. I don't know if I would say easy to fail, but it's pretty easy to do that. Not my favorite detent for the front flipper. See, even when I get it, you can see the blade is just kind of really slow and lazy when coming out. Don't appreciate that. On the thumb stud, it's fine because you can get so much leverage and speed with your thumb so easily that a sluggish detent really doesn't matter. But on a front flipper, I kind of want to have a slightly crispier detent personally. And that's really my only dislike, is the detent is a little bit sluggish, especially for the front flipper. So now on to some conclusions. All in all, I really like this knife. I think it's very well done. It's a great design. It's made very well. It's got solid materials, really nice ergos, a really good blade. Could be slightly slicier, but overall, it is an excellent blade. The sharpening choil is perfect. The blade shape is very nice. And the price on this is reasonable. It's coming in at like $215, if I remember correctly. It's right around that $200 mark, which I feel is pretty reasonable for this. It's not out of this world value. If it was like $180, I would probably go and buy this right now myself. I would recommend it to everyone. At a bit over $200, it's not a bad deal. If this was $250, I would probably not recommend it overall, because it is a pretty simple knife overall. There isn't even internal milling, which might actually be another dislike for me, but with the knife being this thin, it's really not so bad. Oh, and another like I have for this knife is the wonderful thinness. Really thin, really easy to carry. You do have a little bit of knife sticking out of your pocket, but it's all nice and rounded, and it's really, I would say, pretty reasonable. This is a very nice knife to carry, and it's a really good size, in my opinion, for most people, for most tasks. So there are your conclusions. Just a couple nitpicks. I wish it had a hollow grind, and I wish the detent were crispier. Other than that, it's an incredible knife, very well designed, a great knife to actually use for cutting tasks. I honestly really like it. Ray did a good job with this, and We has executed it very nice. So there are my thoughts. I would love to hear what you think about this knife. Go drop a comment down below with your thoughts. Let me know, did you get this knife? Did you pass on it? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Whatever. I would love to hear it. And while you're down there, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. I would definitely appreciate it. And with all that said, thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you on the next one.